On a cold November morning in 1970, a father and his two daughters were hiking through the Isdal Valley near Bergen, Norway. The valley was known locally as Death Valley, not because of crime, but because people used to take their own lives there. As they walked off the trail, they noticed something black on the ground ahead. At first, it looked like trash. Then they saw it was a body, burned, lying among stones, the face unrecognizable. And around it, strange objects placed almost deliberately. That was the beginning of one of Europe's most unsettling, unsolved mysteries, the case of the Isdal Woman. Before we go further, make sure you're subscribed and leave a like on this video. Cases like this don't get mainstream attention anymore. Police arrived quickly that day in November. The scene was strange. The woman's body was badly burned from the waist up. Her hands were damaged, her hair partially gone, but her lower body was less affected. Around her, investigators found items that raised immediate suspicion. An umbrella, a plastic bottle that smelled faintly of gasoline, melted rubber boots, jewelry that had not been stolen. There were no identification documents, no wallet, no purse, nothing to tell them who she was. The autopsy revealed something even more confusing. Inside her stomach were more than 50 sleeping pills. The cause of death was determined to be a combination of carbon monoxide poisoning and barbiturate overdose. She had been alive when the fire started. Soot was found in her lungs. That meant she was breathing during the flames. The police began retracing her steps. They quickly discovered that the woman had been staying in several hotels across Norway in the months before her death. Bergen, Oslo, Stavanger, Trondheim. Always moving, always alone. She checked in under different names. At least 8 false identities were later confirmed. She paid in cash. She asked hotel staff about ferry schedules, mountain trails, and sometimes about military activity in certain areas. Witnesses remembered her as elegant, well-dressed, dark hair, strong features. She spoke multiple languages, though with unclear accents. Sometimes she claimed to be Belgian, other times French. Occasionally, she said she was from South Africa. She filled out hotel registration cards in neat handwriting. But every name was false. When police searched the luggage she had left behind, the mystery deepened. Inside were wigs, several of them, different colors and styles. There were sunglasses, clothing with all labels carefully removed. Even the tags had been cut out. A notebook containing coded writing. Rows of letters and numbers that meant nothing at first glance. A spoon with traces of cosmetics, possibly used to alter her appearance. A map with certain locations circled. There were no fingerprints on the luggage that matched any known records. The coded notebook became one of the first real leads. Norwegian intelligence got involved. They believed the letters and numbers could represent dates and places. After careful analysis, investigators concluded that the code likely documented her movements. Each sequence corresponded to cities she had visited and the dates she stayed there. It was a travel log, hidden in plain sight. Why would someone need to encode their own travel history? The Cold War was in full tension at the time. Norway was a NATO member, sharing a border with the Soviet Union. Bergen was home to a naval base. Military testing happened along the coast. Intelligence agencies from both East and West were active in Scandinavia. The idea that this woman might be a spy quickly became more than speculation. Several witnesses later came forward with small but unsettling details. One hotel employee said she heard the woman speaking German in her room. Another said the woman asked strange questions about missile tests. A fisherman claimed he saw her hiking in restricted areas near military installations. There was also a report from a man who said he met her briefly and noticed she seemed cautious, as if constantly aware of who was watching. Then there was the matter of her teeth. During the autopsy, a forensic dentist examined her dental work and was surprised. The work was extensive and very expensive. Gold crowns, unique techniques, not common in Norway at the time. The pattern suggested she might have received treatment in Central or Eastern Europe. Some experts believed her dental structure pointed toward Germany. Others disagreed. Dental records were checked across multiple countries. No match was found. Her face was reconstructed. Sketches were distributed internationally. No one claimed her. Police also discovered that when she checked out of hotels, she sometimes requested rooms with specific views. In Bergen, she asked for a room facing the back of the hotel. In another city, she moved rooms after one night without explanation. It felt methodical, as if she were assessing escape routes. But then, there were contradictions. Witnesses described her as sociable at times. She visited cafes. She walked confidently through town. She wasn't hiding in shadows. If she was a spy, she wasn't behaving like one from a movie. There were no secret meetings observed, no intercepted communications, just coded notes and multiple identities. The investigation expanded internationally. Interpol was contacted. European police agencies checked missing persons databases. Nothing matched. No family reported a woman fitting her description. It was as if she had appeared in Norway out of nowhere. Then came a detail that complicated everything further. A truck driver contacted police weeks later. He claimed that a few days before the body was found, he had seen a woman matching her description hiking in the Isdal Valley. She was not alone. Two men were walking with her. They were well dressed, possibly in dark coats. The woman looked tense. The men seemed controlled, distant. When the truck driver offered assistance, one of the men responded sharply, telling him they were fine. The driver later said he felt something was wrong but drove away. Police could never identify those men. The official ruling eventually leaned toward suicide. The barbiturates, the fire, the isolation of the valley. But many investigators were not satisfied. Why remove clothing labels? Why carry wigs? Why use false names across multiple cities? Why encode travel routes? Why no suicide note? And if she planned to end her life, why choose such a painful method? Years passed. The case went cold. The Isdal woman was buried in an unmarked grave in Bergen, under the name Unknown Woman. The mystery faded into the background of Cold War history. Then decades later, journalists reopened the case. Advances in forensic science allowed for new testing. DNA analysis was conducted. Isotope testing on her teeth suggested she may have grown up in or near the border region between France and Germany, possibly Alsace. That region had changed hands multiple times between the two countries, which might explain the mixed linguistic traits witnesses described. But even with modern science, her identity remained unknown. Some theories suggest she was an intelligence operative, caught in something larger than herself. Others believe she may have been involved in illegal arms observation or monitoring military testing. A few speculate she was running from something personal, creating new identities to escape her past. And there are those who think she was manipulated, perhaps even silenced. What remains undeniable is the human element. This was not just a body in a valley. She was a woman who made choices. She boarded trains. She checked into hotels. She looked at maps. She changed wigs and mirrors. She wrote coded notes by hand. She walked into that valley alive. Somewhere in Europe, there may have been a mother who never knew what happened to her daughter. Or perhaps someone knew exactly who she was and stayed silent for 50 years. In 2018, her body was exhumed for further testing. A new composite image was released. For a brief moment, the story resurfaced globally. People shared the image online, hoping someone would recognize her face. Still, no confirmed identity. The Isdal Valley remains quiet today. Hikers still pass through it. The rocks are the same. The mist still settles low in the mornings. There is no marker explaining what happened there in 1970. Just landscape, just silence. Was she a spy who knew too much? A woman escaping a fractured Europe? Or someone whose story was erased deliberately? More than 50 years later, we still don't know who the Isdal Woman was. And maybe that is the most unsettling part. Not how she died, but how completely she disappeared.